Hey everyone, welcome to A Little Bit of Monica. I am very excited to be bringing my June TBR to you today, and this is a very ambitious, exciting, and slightly terrifying TBR month because I have a relatively new TBR game I've been playing for a couple of months, and this time TBR Plinko decided to choose violence. But before we get to TBR Plinko, there is one more thing to talk about, and that is the readathon that I will be participating in for the month of June, because some of these books are going to have to fit into certain prompts that go towards this readathon. So the one that I'm participating in June is the Amazing Readathon, which is created and hosted by Brie at Four Paws in a Book. And this is such a fun play on The Amazing Race, if you are familiar with the TV show. If you're not, it is basically a competitive readathon that is team-based, and you and your team will be traveling through different destinations, reading different prompts along the way, with the goal of being the fastest team to get through the entire race. This is a super fun readathon, and this year we get to go to some fantastical locations, which I think is going to be extra fun. Typically in the past we have gone to actual cities around the world, but this year the theme is a little different, and we're going to be going to places that we may be familiar with from fantastical or fictional places. So I'm really excited for this month, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. In my description I will have the link to the announcement video, and Brie has all of the other information with that announcement video if you are not yet participating. If you're not, what are you waiting for? And if you are, I am very excited to be participating with you. I will be joining the Steelwatchers, which is co-hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi and Kirsten from Reading Nymph, and I'm very excited to be on this team. The team bonus prompt that we have is isolation setting, which I love an isolation setting. It's one of my favorite tropes, honestly. However, I do feel like it is harder for me to find books that fit that prompt, so I'm not going to necessarily be reading books specifically to fit the isolation, but if they do when I happen to pick them, then that's all the better. But otherwise, there are a number of prompts that I will be trying to fit my books to, and as I go through them, I will be mentioning how they will fit into some of the Amazing Readathon prompts as well. But my TBR was largely selected by Plinko, absolutely wrecking my brain. So without any further ado, let's get into my TBR Plinko and let's see what this month is going to look like. So I decided to use my TBR Plinko for something a little different this month. In the months previously, I have been using my Plinko board to help me pick what prompts I will be reading towards and picking books to read. But this month I decided to do something a little bit differently. Since this is still a very new TBR game for me, I'm trying out different methods to see what works best and to see what helps me pick my TBR in the best way, or at least the most fun way. And so I decided to change things up for this month, and I don't know if I'm going to regret this or not, but for June I'm going to let my TBR Plinko select how many books I will be reading towards each of the main categories that I'm typically reading towards. So if you've watched any of my TBRs before, you know that I typically have a grouping of arcs that I will be reading, and I typically try to read them at least 1 month ahead of time. But as we also know, I do get behind a bit, so I have some backlog ones I can choose from as well. So I have arcs that I am typically reading every month. I have a book buying problem, and I accumulate a lot of new books, and I absolutely need to be turning those around. So I also have new releases, physically owned books that I need to be working through. And then finally, I have a subscription to a couple different special edition boxes, and I also need to be reading these because if I don't like the books from these boxes, I can be canceling them. And one of my goals by the end of this year is to really figure out which boxes work best for me and to be able to eliminate ones that I am just not liking or that I'm skipping a lot. So I need to be reading through my special editions, because the other thing is, why get them if I'm never going to read them? So of those three categories, I have my arcs, my physical pre-orders, new releases, things like that, and then my special editions. And I'm going to let my TBR Plinko board pick how many books that I am going to select for each of those categories for my June TBR. I am scared. I am terrified of what this is going to look like, but let's do our first drop. Okay, for the first drop, we are going to start with my arcs. So whatever number this drops into is how many arcs I am going to be trying to read for this month. I am scared, but we're going to drop it anyway. Okay, we landed on a 4, and honestly, that feels very doable. I feel like 4 is a pretty average number for me for most months, so I feel good about that one. Alrighty, so starting off with my arc category, I talk every single month about how I really like to get my arcs turned around as much as I can within the span of time before the book comes out. So in order to try to do that, and I fail every single month with at least 1 or 2 books. I do, and it's fine because I do try to catch up later, but I am trying to read my books 1 month before they come out. So for the month of June, the book books that are going to primarily go onto my TBR are books that are coming out in July, because I want to leave a little bit of cushion room, because then if I do fail, I can maybe potentially fit the book into the next month as well. So let's get into some of the books that I need to be reading for July, and we're going to get my 4 arcs as Plinko has determined for me. So the first one that I want to talk about is the new Ruth Ware book, The Woman in Suite 11. Now this is a book that I received from Gallery Books, and I am so excited to have this because I have really liked reading some of Ruth Ware's books in the past, and when I had this opportunity to read this one, I could not pass it up. I am very excited to read this. This comes out on July 8th, so I definitely want to get to it this month, because if I fail, I don't have a lot of time to turn it around before the book actually comes out. The problem is, this is a sequel to The Woman in Cabin 10, and I haven't read this one yet either. So by adding this arc onto my list, I also have to add this one on as well. So I will be reading both of these books in June now to prepare myself for the official release of The Woman in Suite 11. I am very excited to be reading these, but I have no idea what to expect, so good start, already adding 2 books onto the list. The next 2 books that I have both come out on the same day, and that is July 15th. First off is One Yellow Eye by Lee Bradford. This is another book that I received from Gallery Books. This is more of a sci-fi horror that is going to take place in the aftermath of a zombie epidemic, where the main character has her undead husband hiding in their guest room so that she can try to find a cure for him. The twist is he is the only undead person left, because they're not supposed to have anybody hidden in their guest rooms. So she is going to be doing everything she can to try to save her husband. This sounds like it's going to be eerie and weird, and I am here for it. So we're going to add that one on as well. And then the final book that I have on my TBR of books that come out in July also comes out on the 15th, and this is The Jasad Crown by Sarah Hashem, and I absolutely loved reading the Jasad heir, and I'm so excited for the sequel. I honestly squealed when I got approved for the e-arc on NetGalley, and I cannot wait to read this book. It is going to be so exciting. I really liked the slow burn element of the Jasad heir, and this really incredible world building that we get from the story, where our main character has a hidden identity and is chosen to compete in this competition on behalf of the prince, and the way that they have to work together to then uncover some mysteries as well, while she is still hiding her identity as an heir herself. I just think this is such a cool story, such a cool concept, and I am going to have to refresh myself on how the first book ends before I go into this one, but I am so excited to be reading this one. So this one is immediately going on my list. But that brings me to 3 arcs, and I have to read 4. So there is one more that I'm going to be adding on to my list. And this last one is going to be a backlist book that actually came out last year, but there's a good reason why I'm adding it to my TBR for this time. And this one is Holding Out for a Hero by Mary Ann Marlowe. Now the reason I'm putting this one on here, it came out last August, so it's been a while, but this year is the 6-year anniversary of when I traveled to Greece myself for a college course right after I graduated, and I had the time of my life. We spent 3 weeks traveling around Greece, and it was just an incredible experience, and I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic. While I'm filming this, I have been actively getting alerts of timeline throwbacks from when I was posting when I was in Greece 6 years ago. So I am very full of the nostalgia right now as I'm getting all of these memories coming back from the photos that I had taken, the videos I had taken, and the experiences I had. And this book is about a Greek person. I think it takes place in Greece. It just has the vibe that I feel is going to take me back to when I was there 6 years ago. So that's why I'm throwing it on here. Not too deep, but just something that I think is going to be a fun way to reminisce on some of my past memories and also get some of my arcs through, because this sounds like a super fun type of romance. And now that is all for the arc portion of my TBR, but we're not done yet, because I still have 2 more categories to go through. Next up, we're going to be looking at some physical releases, some new releases. So let's see what the Plinko board is going to decide. Okay, now for the second drop. This is going to help determine how many books I'm going to be adding from my physical TBR / new releases. I really like pre-ordering books that I'm excited to have, but they end up piling up if I can't get to them fast enough. So this category is to help me read through my physical TBR, books that I'm acquiring over time, and I've kind of put myself on a mini book buying ban so that I am not buying new books until I have turned around some of the ones that I already have. Kiara, can you not eat the tokens, please? Anyway, let's do the drop and find out how many physical TBR books / new releases I will be reading this month. Okay, so it could have been worse. 5 is a lot, but it could have been worse because it goes up to 7. So I guess I'll take that as a win. But wow, I have quite a bit of work to do now. Okay, like 5 books could be worse, right? 5 books could be worse. I will say that on top of the 4 arcs, it's not looking great, but it's still doable. So let's look at 5 new releases that I have been wanting to read anyway. I pre-ordered them so that I could read them when they came out, and we're gonna add them to the TBR and hopefully get to them in June. First up is a book that just came out last month, A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the sequel to A Fate Inked in Blood, and when I read that book, I absolutely loved it. I devoured it so fast, and I pre-ordered this book as soon as I possibly could when it was announced. So I have been very, very highly anticipating the release of this book, and I cannot wait to get to it. The fun thing is my husband also read A Fate Inked in Blood and loved it, which means that he is going to also be wanting to read this, but I need to read it first. 1, because I will read it faster, and 2, because when he has read it, I know he's going to want to talk about it, and if I haven't read it yet and he can't talk about it, he's going to be really sad. So I'm going to read this one first, but it definitely has to go on the TBR very, very soon. Next up is another very recent release, but a very highly anticipated one, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Rachel Gillig was in my top 10 of last year. I absolutely went feral for One Dark Window, and especially Two Twisted Crowns. Two Twisted Crowns was in my top 3 books of 2024. I absolutely ate those books up, obsessed with the vibe, the romance, the fantasy, everything about it was absolutely delicious. And you can bet your bottom dollar that this book was pre-ordered as soon as I freaking could. So this book is going on the TBR because 1, I have heard so many good things about it from people who had advanced access, and I'm really jealous of those people. But 2, just because of how much I love Rachel Gillig, and I absolutely need to know what the hype is and what this book is going to do for me. But we still have a couple more books to go through. So let's take a look at the next new release that I'm going to be reading, and it is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This is another book that has had so much hype recently that people have absolutely been loving, and I need to love it too. So yes, I did get the first edition that has gorgeous edges, and I am very, very excited to have this one. I actually don't know the plot of like half of these books. I just know from the hype that I've heard, the things that people have said, and how much they loved it, and the way that they were like sucked into the story and didn't want to stop reading. Like, that is enough for me to want to read these books. So yes, I know it's a problem to be buying these books and not even remembering what they're about, but it's fine because I'm gonna find out when I read it for myself. Next up is another new release that is also very highly hyped right now, and I need to find out for myself what it is about Silver Elite by Danny Francis that is making people go crazy. What is it about this book that has people reading it and not being able to put it down, and then when they finish the book, going into a slump because they don't know what to do with their lives after finishing? And I need to know what that feeling is like. I need to know. Do I want to be in a slump? No. But I do want to have the feeling of finishing a book and just feeling like your brain is empty because it was so freaking good. That's what I want. Do I know what it's about? Not even a little bit. But that's not going to stop me because I'm adding this to my TBR immediately. And the final book, I am going to throw in a romance because I just realized that like I don't have a lot of true romances on my list right now. A lot of them are like fantasy romance. So the one I am going to put on is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. This is the brand new Emily Henry book, and I'm here and there with Emily Henry's books. I have absolutely loved them, and I have been so about them. So I don't know what's going to happen with this book, but it is a new release. I am very excited to have it and to give it a try, to add it to my collection. So we're going to throw it on the TBR as well and find out if this book is going to excite me the way that some of hers have, or fall flat the way some of them unfortunately also have for me. And just as a quick look back at the books that I just talked about, let's go over some of the prompts that these are going to fit for the Amazing Readathon. So one of the prompts, and we don't know what order these are all going to be in, we just know that they are going to be destination prompts throughout the month, but one of the prompts is to read a book with a green cover. So for that one, I do think Shield of Sparrows is going to work. There is a lot of elements of green. Is the whole thing green? No, but there's a lot of elements, and if you look closely, there is a really beautiful green foiling that's going on in the background of the entire book, which is absolutely stunning, first of all. But I feel like the green and the like naturey feel of this book, it's giving green enough that I think it should count, and so I'm going to count it. One of the other prompts is to read a book with a prominent romance, and hello, this is Emily Henry, so I am going to put this one on because I do believe that there's going to be a prominent romance involved in this story, and I think that is the perfect way to throw that in. But now let's jump into the last drop of my Plinko board and find out what the other books are going to be on my TBR and see how those prompts can fit as well. And now the third and final drop for this month, I will be determining how many books books I will be reading from my special edition collection. This is to help me get down my special edition backlog of the books that I've been getting from subscription boxes that have just been sitting on my shelves and wondering when I'm going to actually get to them. So this is going to help me get through those. Let's find out how many of these books I need to read this month. I'm a little bit scared to add on to the past 2 drops as well. Let's find out. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Well, I'm doomed, but it's fine. The Plinko board has chosen. 7 is a lot. Quite literally couldn't have been any worse. The good news is I have a lot of special editions to choose from. The bad news is I don't know how I'm gonna read 7 special editions this month, but the Plinko board has spoken, so let's pick 7 special editions from my shelf. Alrighty, I'm officially angry at my Plinko TBR for being so rude. Didn't I already have enough with 9 books? Now you're adding 7 more? Okay, y'all, I don't even read that many books in a month, so I don't know how this is gonna happen, but Plinko has determined it, and therefore I will pick 7 special editions to go on my TBR, and you know what? It'll just give me options to choose from, but I am under no delusions that I'm going to actually read every single one of these books this month, because that would be insane. I would have to do nothing but eat, sleep, and read. I mean, that's the dream, but like, it's not really the reality. However, I've got 7 books here, so let's see what 7 special editions I can read this month, or at least choose from this month. But let's start with one that I don't think it's cheating. I don't think it's cheating because it is a special edition, but it is a duplicate, and it's because I have the Afterlight special edition of Great Big Beautiful Life, and since this is already on my TBR, I figured why not also count this for a special edition, because it means that I will be reading the special editions that I have on my shelves. So I don't think it's like fully cheating. Is it stretching it a little bit? Maybe, but I'm gonna say that it's fine. Next up, we have one of the Darkly subscription box books. This is from Bookish Box, and it is One Pucked Up Pack by Sarah Blue. This was the book from January, so this is the most recent one that I've received. I believe this is going to be a werewolf hockey why choose romance, which is going to be a little bit outside of what I am typically reading, but I'm really excited. I am excited to give this a shot and see. It's also a really, really beautiful edition. It has some stunning design work going on here, so I can't wait to try this one out. I also just love the bookish designs. But next up, we have another recent addition to the list, and this is a Song of Legends Lost by M.H. Ayenda, and this is from Illumicrate, and the story itself sounds so interesting, but I will take a moment to just showcase how spectacularly beautiful these images are. But like, the end page images are truly just so telling of what to expect in this story, and it makes me so excited. From what I understand of this book, the main character is going to invoke a spirit that is going to aid them on the battlefield, but it's not going to be like they imagined that it would be, and things are probably going to go wrong from that. I don't know if it's a good spirit or a bad spirit, but I think they're going to find out. So this book is also one that my husband may be interested in, which is another reason why I do want to read this, so that I can let him know if it's something he would like. So this one's going on the list. Also, I do think this can count. It's more blue than green, admittedly, but the back is more green than blue. Next up is one that's going to count towards the Amazing Readathon prompt of a cozy book, and it is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This has been on my mental TBR for months and months and months, and I have just never read it, but I also have the audiobook on hold from Libby that has been coming back around like every couple of weeks, and I think it's time that I finally actually accept the audio and just read the dang book. So I'm going to do this. I do believe that there is going to be a prominent romance in here, I think, maybe, so that will probably also be something that I can use a prompt for, but especially the cozy vibe is one of the prompts. So we're going to add this one on as well, and this is from Owl Crate. It is absolutely stunning, but truly I don't get very many books from Owl Crate anymore. I am typically skipping them and will probably be canceling my subscription at some point. So I don't know how long I will be getting any more of them, but for now, this was, I think, the first one I ever got, and it is really, really beautiful. So I definitely want to see if the inside matches the outside. Next up, up we have another Illumicrate book, and this one is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I have the audiobook from Libro FM as one of their influencer ALCs, so I am very, very excited to have a physical and audiobook copy of this readily available at any time. I admittedly don't really know if I've heard too much about this book, so if you've read this and have any thoughts, let me know. I am very excited by the concept of it. It sounds like this one is going to be a competition setting, which I definitely like, and also have a bit of a murder mystery type of vibe while also being a fantasy setting. So I'm really excited. I also love how beautiful this purple color is of the cover. I just think this is stunning, and I'm very excited. It's also so thick. It is over 600 pages, which means it's going to count for my Chunky Book Challenge, which I realize I haven't really talked about a lot lately, but I do have a Chunky Book Challenge going on in my Discord to read books that are 500 plus pages, and this one being over 600 definitely is going to fit into that category of just trying to get through the books and not be intimidated by them as the year goes through. The next one up is The Wind Weaver by Julie Johnson, and this one I've heard so many good things about. I'm pretty sure Cassidy was probably the first person I heard talk about this book and absolutely rave about it and how good it was and how addicting it was, and I already had this copy of it, so that just made me more excited to read it and to immediately add it to my upcoming TBRs. So I'm going to add this one on. Do I know what it's about? No, I do not, but it's going on my TBR and I will find out very, very soon. But the final book that is going to be on my 7-book special edition TBR for June is the most recent Evernight by Illumicrate special edition horror. So this is The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. This will be my very first book by Chuck Wendig, which is kind of shocking. I went to a panel and heard him talk, but hadn't actually read any of his books yet. So I'm excited to have this one. I do think this one is absolutely stunning, and it's about a group of teenagers who go into the woods, find a mysterious staircase, and when one person goes up, that person and the stairs disappear until years later and the stairs reappear. So the mystery continues. This sounds like it's going to be very eerie, very creepy, and I honestly cannot wait for the vibes of this book. And I needed some horror to be thrown into the mix. I've had a lot of fantasy with a little bit of romance and a couple of thrillers at the beginning, but I need a little bit more horror in my life, so we're going to add this one onto the list as well. That brings me to the end of my TBR, and even if it wasn't, I would be putting an end to the TBR because this is a lot, okay? 16 books. 16 books is a lot when my average is between 10 and 15 on any given month. I don't know how I'm going to accomplish this, but I'm cutting it off. There are no more books going on my TBR. Oh no, I forgot one. Oh no. There is one more book I have to talk about, and this one, unfortunately, is also going to count on the Chunky Book Challenge, which is not exciting for me because it means I have another long book to add to my TBR. But I can't believe I forgot about this, but I run a Stephen King book club in my Discord, and we have a book selected for June, and that one is going to be Duma Key, which came out in 2008, and it's a longer one. It's definitely not his longest, but it is a longer one, and yeah, oh man. So 17 books, add 17 books onto my TBR. This is fantastic. It's gonna be great. Oh God, this is gonna be a mess. I'm gonna need all the good vibes, all the support, all the reminders to read and do nothing else. It's like that SpongeBob meme of like fine dining and breathing, except it's just reading and breathing because that's all I have time for in June, apparently. Yeah, that's my TBR. I'm gonna need support. I'm gonna need some hype. If you've read these books and you loved them, I absolutely want to hear how much you loved them and hype me up for when I'm going to be getting to them. I know some of these are already super hyped, so I just can't wait to hear how other people are liking them. Or if you haven't read them but you're interested, I'd love to hear that too if you're participating in Amazing. I can't wait to see you in the chats, to talk to you there. This is going to be such a fun month. Don't forget to check out Bree's announcement video, as well as subscribing to Bree and to Lexi and Kirsten. This is going to be an incredible month. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, for being here and spending your time with me. Every second that you spend here means the world to me, and I so appreciate it. So I do want to thank you for watching this video and for keeping up with everything I have in the future, and I really hope that I will see you in the next video. Bye!